Thank you. So sweet that she tells us every time. And we'll present. Okay, well, how are you looking? Can everyone virtually see the screen that I'm sharing?
Yeah, it's shared good.
Perfect. All right, great. We'll go with that then. Okay, well, thank you everyone who made it out tonight. I know some of the roads are uglier than others, but I appreciate you braving that and being here. And this is our annual vendor meeting. This is where we review the application process, any updates to the rules and regulations, and just general market updates for the year. So we'll go ahead and get started. And here's what we have on the agenda. We already went through introductions. Liz and I will give a formal introduction to ourselves. Normally for an annual vendor meeting, we also have a budget review or a profit and loss review, but we already had a big meeting in January doing that. So if you missed that meeting and you're curious about our budget for this year and where we get our funding from, or you just have general questions, please feel free to find me or Liz at the end and we can share information with you. I just figured we could save time here and get you guys out early and yeah.
Yeah, if you guys need a link, we can share the link to the presentation with you so you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so go ahead and get into it. So thank you all for attending this meeting for the Montrose Farmers Market. If you're not familiar, the Montrose Farmers Market is a program of Valley Food Partnership. We are a nonprofit here in Montrose County. Our office used to be in Montrose, but now it's in Olathe in the Region 10 building. And our goal is to connect local agriculture and local people. And we do that through various programs of ours. For example, we have a beginner farmer rancher program. So if you're someone who has less than 10 years of experience of farming, or you have no experience and you want to get into farming, this is a really great year-long educational program to help you get those resources to run your farm as a business. We also have a nutrition education and incentive program. We call it Local Farming CRX. Some of you might be familiar with those vouchers we receive at the market, and that is to help people who are at risk of dietary diseases get nutritional education, and then also vouchers to spend at the market to get fruits and vegetables that they just learned how to cook with. And I can talk more about our programs. We're also one of the hosts of the Western Colorado Soil Health Food and Farm Forum. If you haven't heard of that and you're into farming and you're into regenerative agriculture, it's a very, very cool forum at the end of January. So you have to wait till next year. But just a quick introduction to our team. Penelope Powell is usually here, but she had some prior commitments tonight. So it's just us hooligans running the show. But she is our fearless executive director for Valley Food Partnership. And then my name is Sammy Altieri. I am the project manager for the Montrose Farmers Market. I'll explain a little bit later what kind of role I do and what hat I wear. But then I also want to introduce Liz Swank, who is our market coordinator. She's the one you guys contact with and running the show each week and boots on the ground. So she's a very important role I'd probably say the most important role of this market. Let's see. Okay, so before we jumped into all the nuts and bolts of the market, I wanted to go over what our mission is as a market, because we have a mission as Valley Food Partnership, but we also have a mission as a market, and we basically have 4 main mission goals. One is to connect local producers and local people, and we do that by providing the venue to connect producers to people. We're a year-round market. As you all know, we run Saturdays and we run every other Saturday during the winter, and our goal is to be a convenient and accessible place for people to be able to access fresh and local food, and not just produce, but also meats, baked goods, and of course our amazing artisan products from the Western Slope. We also provide food access services. We believe that healthy and local food should be accessible to everybody, and we do our best to try to make that local healthy food as accessible as possible. And we do that through a variety of food access programs, which we're going to deep dive into in this presentation. But some of you are probably familiar with it already. We accept SNAP, Double Up Food Bucks. We participate with the WIC Farmers Market Nutrition Program during the summer, and Local Farm CRX is also another food access program. Our third mission is to incubate new businesses. Farmers markets are an excellent way to jumpstart your business. Some people stick with markets for years and years, and some use it as their stepping stone to a brick and mortar building. Both are fine, both are fabulous. Some great examples here in town is San Juan Coffee House started out as a coffee truck here at the market in 2020. And then they were able to purchase their brick and mortar conveniently right next to the market, which makes me really happy. Lady Bird Baking, I don't know if everyone's heard the news, but she has bought that building in Kelowna as you're driving like towards Ridgeway. And she's already painted it. It already says Lady Bird. I'm so excited. She says she's still gonna do markets, which pleases me. But those are two great examples of people who started at farmers markets and got their way into a permanent place. And another way we help incubate new businesses is we do offer a sales tax processing service. So if you, it's one less hurdle to jump when starting a new business if you don't have to apply for a sales tax license, because that can be a little time consuming sometimes. And that's where we offer a sales tax service here. And our first goal is to support community building. We just also want the market to be a place to be where the community gathers to see their neighbors, to see their farmers, and to just engage with the Montrose community. So we do that through providing live music, kids activities, having fun events, and just being a central place downtown. So those are our 4 main goals. All right. I wanted to give a quick 2023 glance. Like I said, we're not doing a full P&L budget review, but I can definitely offer some things we can boast about. So 2023, we were open 41 weeks, rain or shine. I think we only had to cancel 1 market last year, which is phenomenal. Our total sales from all our vendors brought over $360,000 into our local community. That means that is all y'all's sales from last year. And I'm also probably missing numbers there. It's definitely under budget, but it's at least $360,000 of sales we brought in through the market. We supported over 50 local small business owners, so that means 50 approved applications.
Oh, she must be having.
Yeah, we'll keep running her in. I know that part might be hard to see with the screen, but we provided over $23,000 in food access programs. So that's SNAP, Double Up, and WIC. So that's $23,000 not only worth of food to people's tables that they might not have otherwise had access to, but that's $23,000 in farmers' pockets as well. So it's free extra money. And we processed over $15,000 in sales tax for the city and state, which I'm sure that I know that the city appreciates that we processed. And we also held 6 special events, which was a very busy year for us. To name a few off the top of my head, we had a fun opening day. We celebrated National Farmers Market Week. We celebrated Youth Appreciation Day. This year was our first year hosting the Stone Soup Community Appreciation Luncheon. We just call it the Stone Soup Lunch because that's a mouthful. And the Halloween event, which was fun. The weather was a little unfortunate this year, but if I could control the weather, I would. So yeah, 2023 was a fantastic 45th anniversary for the Montrose Farmers Market. Okay, so I'm gonna hand it over to Liz real quick to go over the application process, and just review some changes this year to the application, and yeah, I'm gonna hand it off to you.
Hi. So the biggest change right off the bat is the seasons. So we did shift to go to a calendar year versus carrying over a season into the following year. It just makes it easier for everybody to understand. And it makes it easier for us to do bookkeeping for tax purposes and for budgetary reasons. So what that means is we're starting in January from now on. So January through April is going to be the winter season, just as it always is. Summer is going to be May through October, no changes there either. The holiday market is still November and December. And then we do have a day option that did increase to 40, but that also includes the sales tax service. So you don't have to pay $50 to have just a few spots. So the day vendors would get a little bit of break. But yes, so months are still the same, the seasons are still the same, we're just cutting off and not carrying over. Does anyone have questions about that particularly? Okay, so to just go a little bit further on that, we're going to be prorating anybody that was previously a full year vendor. So if you submit your application, a few of you already have, thank you very much, that makes my job easier. Then I'll send you back a revised copy. It'll show that prorated amount. It'll show all of the rest of the à la carte options. Maybe you guys have selected electricity, that's a new one this year. That wasn't previously on the application, but that is now this year. So if you've selected any of those à la carte options, you'll see your application fee and then the total is revised. So if you guys have any questions on that, let me know. But that is how we'll be handling the annual vendors from last year carrying into this year. Everybody can submit applications to me at mfm@valleyfoodpartnership.org. Very simple, but still a mouthful. And the few things that we will need from you guys before we can give you the thumbs up, give you an approval, is going to be insurance. If you guys are planning on attending the boot camp, we will go into these various areas a little bit more in depth and kind of get you guys set up for success. If you're uneasy or unsure or don't think you know quite enough for what you currently got, we will go over a lot of these things in the boot camp. So feel free to go and register for that. If you need a link, let me know. So you'll need your liability insurance. The minimum requirements is $1 million. You have to list us as an additional insured, and we need a certificate that has valid effective dates. And then all of your certifications. So if you have a cottage food license, a safety food handling license, if you've got a retail storefront license, an egg certificate, scales, all of those, anything that you guys have certifications in, be proud of those, hand those in to me and we'll keep track of them for you. If I need something from you that you guys haven't submitted, I will reach out and let you know. And if you've previously submitted things to us before, we keep track of when those things expire. So I will also be following up with you. A few of you have, again, thank you, submitted your updated documents to me. That makes it easier for me. And then city sales and state sales tax licenses. If you are not using our service, we do require both of those numbers and we do require that both of those be valid and up to date. And if you do use our tax service and you have any additional questions on that, I'm really not gonna go into too much about that, because most of you guys know how that works. If you have questions, feel free to raise your hand virtually or let me know. I'll stop and we can kind of go through that, but we do need a copy of those before I can give you the thumbs up. And then also if you have questions on the products that you have and what the requirements are, if you don't feel we're answering your questions good enough, you can always contact Jim Austin at the extension office, and he's at the city.
He's with the county, so if you go to Montrose County Public Health, he is the director.
Director of Public Health. And we have his contact information. We have a bunch of different people at the city and at the county level that we can get you in contact with if you have any questions there. But yeah, that's the application process, like nuts and bolts. And then the approval process. So once I have all of those documents, I will give you the thumbs up. I will confirm via email, phone call, in person, however we can get that done. But 100% in an email, I will give you a thumbs up. I will say you guys are good to go. I've got all of your necessary documents, and then comes payment. We accept checks, we accept cash. We can invoice you via PayPal if you want to pay with a credit card or a debit card. But we do require dues to be paid up the week that market starts. So if you are a summer vendor and you plan to be there on the 4th, which is opening day, we do need to have that money prior to then. Other than that, I can give you an approval before payment is accepted. So if I give you the thumbs up, don't feel obligated to make a payment. We don't require it until the week before. But as early as you can get it in is wonderful. So email, yeah, that's perfect. Communicating attendance dates. I keep track of all of the dates that you guys sign up for. And this year we are requesting that if you aren't a package vendor, and you are doing specific dates, to please communicate those to us so that we can keep track and we can communicate. If you are a seasoned vendor or an annual vendor, please make sure that you communicate if you won't be here with me. There are a lot of times we do special events, and there are times where I can rotate vendors into a better spot if you so happen to have one of those. highly coveted spots, I might move somebody up. So please communicate with me as early as possible. We do have a 3-strike rule. There is 3 opportunities for you guys to not communicate with me before we charge you $25. That is in the rules and regulations. It's kind of a yucky thing, but if you guys don't communicate with me, it's really, really hard for us to run a successful market. So please do that. And opening and closing, we're kind of sticklers about that too. I don't care what time you guys start setting up and start selling. I get here as early as 7 a.m. So you guys are more than welcome to start whenever you want, but please, if at all possible, do not start breaking down until right at 1 o'clock. If there's something that you need to be out of, please communicate with me beforehand so we can make a plan. Otherwise, it's usually just please stay put until 1 o'clock. If you need to have somebody come and cover you for a little bit, understandable, but you might just need to sit out a market if you need to leave significantly earlier than the market gets to be closing. And then Thursday and Friday, please let me know the Thursday and Friday before. Thursday at 5 p.m. is what the rules and regulations should say. But if you let me know that night or even very, very early Friday morning, I'm pretty laid back. That's just fine. You can just let me know. As long as it's before market starts, that's all I really ask. But that's all I have.
Nice. It was thorough. Okay, so rules and regulations. This is not all the rules and regulations. If anyone here wants physical copies, I have some on the back table here, and they're also available at valleyfoodpartnership.org. It's lengthy. So I just pulled out the rules and regulations that seem to pop up the most to just go over real quick. So again, as Liz said, attendance, we just ask for communication. Some markets have stricter policies, like you can't miss a certain amount of days. We understand life happens and you have to miss certain days, go on vacation, we get it. We just ask for communication. Late policy, if you are not ready and set up to sell by 9, that is considered late. And again, it's a 3-strike policy before we start charging. It's nice for the market to open and close at the same time with everybody, and it's a safety concern too. We don't want anyone trying to put up tents while customers are busy and around. Food access programs. I'm about to jump into every single one. I know there's a lot of funny money, but all eligible vendors must participate in our food access programs. And we do pay you guys back for participating in that. It just helps make our market more accessible to everyone in our community. So if you do participate in any of the food access programs, SNAP, Double Up, WIC, or local pharmacy, we have signage for you. You may already have signage. Make sure you just put that up at every market. That way customers who maybe this is their first time using Double Up or WIC or something, they know who they can shop with. And that's extra money for you. All tents must be weighed down with 40-pound weights per leg. We are going to be on you guys about that this year. Not for any particular reason. We haven't had any accidents yet, but I was the other night when it was really windy. I was thinking about the market a lot in my sleep. So yeah, so if we walk by and we don't see the appropriate amount of weights on your tent, we're just gonna ask you to take your tent down. I know it's a bummer and I hate to ask people to do it, but we're gonna be real sticklers about it this year.
It gets hot, so you want your tent.
And you want your tent, yeah, especially if you've got any sort of food that can wilt in the sun. All products must be listed on application or communicated to us. So when you fill out your application, there's a little line where you can list all your products. Please do that just so we know when we're approving vendors what to expect when you're coming in. If you say you're gonna sell, I don't know, I'm trying to make something up on the spot, apples, we're like, great, we needed an apple vendor and we accept you, but all of a sudden you show up with like broccoli, it's like, oh, we already have 6 broccoli vendors. I'm making this up, but that's why we ask to see all the products, so we kind of know what variety we're working with the market. Last one I'll say is vendors are responsible for tracking sales tax payments. So if you are using our sales tax system, that's great. And we have a pretty thorough process that we'll get into in a minute. But we don't do sales tax reports at the end of the year. So if you email us in December and you're like, oh, could you send me every single collection sheet I did? No, I've done that before for someone and it takes hours. So we just can't offer that service to everybody. So that can be either you logging into your, whatever you log your stuff into for the day, how much you paid in sales tax, or just taking a picture of collection sheet, whatever you want to do, just make sure you're tracking that, because we don't do reports at the end of the year, but we do pay your sales tax.
Yeah, I know if
You
you
pay
you
yourself
take
that.
pictures of your collection sheets before you hand them in to me every week, which is perfect, that's a very good practice.
Okay, so I'm about to jump into the various food access programs we have, just so we're all on the same page about what each one is for, because I know it can get confusing mid-season. So first, the most popular one we have is SNAP. SNAP comes in the form of these pink dollars in $1 increments. They're food stamp dollars, if that's how you know SNAP. So customers with their EBT cards will come to the manager's table, and they will swipe their card with us, and they'll get SNAP dollars that they can now spend with you guys. And you can accept it like real money. You can't offer change, so sometimes there's a little bit of flexibility between the customer and the vendor to rounding up or down to $1. I haven't heard any negative feedback about that in my time. But basically, SNAP is good for all food that is not hot and ready. So if you sell a cold sandwich, they can buy it with SNAP. If you sell a hot sandwich, you can't. I don't make the rules on that. But they're good for produce, meats, eggs, dairies, breads, candies, and any season plants that produce food. So if you have like vegetables start at the beginning of season, you can accept SNAP for that. Double Up Food Bucks is the second most popular one you're gonna see. This is for fruits and vegetables, including any dried fruits and vegetables. So we have some like freeze-dried fruits and veggie vendors here. They can accept Double Up. Dried beans, fresh herbs, and again, food-producing plants and seeds. Yeah, it's basically any fruits and vegetables and beans and mushrooms, as long as they're not any value-added stuff. So the moment you add any sugars or spice or process them in any way, then you can't do Double Up Food Bucks, but if it's just dried, you're set. So the last two we just went over run year round. We do SNAP and Double Up Food Bucks year round, and you can accept those dollars as long as we keep running this program. WIC happens every year between June and October, so there is an expiration date on this. We try to communicate as best we can with customers and vendors. This one is pretty similar to Double Up Food Bucks of fruits and vegetables, but they have a little bit of a tighter rule where it can't be any processed fruits or vegetables. So that includes dried fruits or vegetables. I don't know why they make that rule. It's just what it is. So if you have any products that are eligible to accept WIC, we will approach you once that time once we get closer to June, and you'll fill out a little WIC contract, and then you are eligible to accept WIC. There are these little green bucks. They might be a different color this year. I'm not sure what they're planning, but it will look almost exactly like this. It'll say WIC on it, and you'll notice it's in $5 increments. So again, with that rule, you can't offer any change with the $5 increments, but you can work with your customer to try to make it worth a $5 increment value. So maybe you throw in an extra garlic here or there. Yeah, unfortunately, you just can't offer change with that. And then local pharmacy RX, another green dollar for fruits and vegetables. WIC is good for, or here I am. Local pharmacy is good for fruits and vegetables as well. So basically, almost all our food access programs are good for fruits and vegetables. SNAP is good for all foods. At the beginning of the season, all of you are going to get a vendor handbook that's going to cover a lot of this information we're talking about today, and including a cheat sheet. So if a customer ever tries to spend dollars with you and you're not sure, you can reference that. Also, always, if you or a customer is confused how to accept bucks, send them to our table and we can help them out. We know it can be confusing sometimes. Another market currency we have is market bucks, but we use this for our own personal programs. So for example, in 2023, some of you may recall you accepted market bucks, and this was good for all products, including artisan products. That was because that was specifically as a thank you reward for Region 10 senior volunteers. And they did that, and now they're done with that. So blue bucks are kind of a mystery and have different uses each year depending on how we use them. So for this one, Right now, we don't have any plans to use these bucks this year. If we do, if someone does approach us and they want to invest in some kind of currency with the market, we'll use these. And we'll give you guys plenty of communication heads up of what they're gonna be used for. So for now, pretend this doesn't exist until you hear from us. And so now to answer the question most of you know, how do you get reimbursed for all this funny money? We don't expect you to accept monopoly money and just take the loss for that. At the end of every market, you will receive an envelope from market management. So usually Liz, unless I'm covering that day for some reason.
Or a volunteer.
Or a volunteer, exactly. So you'll get a little envelope. It comes with a collection sheet. This is where you turn in all the funny money, all the food access program dollars you got for that day. It's where you're gonna pay your sales tax if you're signed up for our sales tax service. It's also where you pay your day fees if you are a day fee vendor. It's so important that you guys fill this out to completion, and make sure that you get it in our hands. And what I mean by that is there have been times I've come back to the table and I see someone left an envelope full of money that anyone could have just walked by and swiped up. Thank God that hasn't happened. And I open it and I look at the collection sheet and there's no name. So I don't know who's trying to pay, someone is trying to pay their taxes, but I can't help them. So name, market date is vital. If you're signing up for a sales tax service, basically what you do is you report your total sales for the day. So you write, I made $100 today. You'll subtract anything that, we write in that little box, so section C, SNAP, double up, and WIC. If you accepted any SNAP or double up WICs, those are federal programs, so they're tax exempt. You can take that out of your total. That means you pay less sales tax. Then you calculate your sales tax based on the calculation that we have for that year. And that is based on city and state sales tax calculations. You do a little bit of math, you put your money in the envelope, then you put the total down here. That's the number that we reference when we go back to the office to count the money. It's so important that you put that, however much you're putting into the envelope, you write that literal amount, because otherwise we're playing a guessing game and that makes it really hard with our bookkeepers, and we want to keep our bookkeepers happy. Down here is where you submit your SNAP, double up, with all the funny money payments. So if you got $10 in SNAP that day, you're gonna put those $10 in the envelope and write $10. We also have to cross-reference that. If you write that you got $10, but we don't see any bucks in there, we can't pay you back, so we need both. If you do your own taxes, fabulous. You're just gonna put the total that you made up in this middle box here. We don't share that information with any other vendors. We're not telling people what you made that day. That's data collection for us, so we know how we're doing as a whole as a market. So that number I shared earlier, $360,000 in sales, that's from these collection sheets. And that's great because that's an increase in sales from 2022. So I can see that we're all doing great. What else?
The signature.
The signature, please sign, yeah.
Yeah.
It's again, it's where we are dealing with your taxes, so your signature says, yep, I, Glenn, made my sales today, and I paid, and I am ensuring that everything in here is correct, and then Glenn's gonna come over and hand it to Liz, and Liz is gonna take it and check it, and see like, okay, he said he got SNAP, yep, he put SNAP in there, and yep, he put money in there, and then she's gonna sign it. And once she signed it, it is officially in our possession. We can't take accountability for it if we haven't signed it. That's why it's so important that you guys physically hand the envelope to us. Please don't leave it on the table. Again, like could go missing and that's out of our hands.
Question, Sandy.
Yes.
If I owe $24.39, I put $25 in there, does that work?
Yeah,
That's fine. Yes, just write $25.
we don't give that back.
I'm not worried about that. I just didn't want to mess up the bookkeeping.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, and we get it. If you don't have exact change and you round it up to the dollar, that's fine. Just write that amount and that just gets kind of accumulated at the end. So if you're short some cents the next week, it comes out in the wash.
I just want to stay on the bookkeeper's good side.
Yes, we all want to stay on the bookkeeper's good side. We try our best.
Yes.
Do you have a question?
The amount that we pay, is that the city and the county?
It's the city and the state combined. We don't pay county taxes.
All right, if there's not a state tax on food,
That's accounted for.
Yeah, so you'll do you'll do the food item, because there's two different types of tax calculations, so you select the food category, and the city sales tax is there, but it's not a state tax.
Yeah.
Always been that way.
Yeah, and I checked with Connie on this too.
Okay.
Yeah, because someone asked this last year, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. But yeah, that number that you see in the collection sheet that says like, do this math, that is cumulative of city and state, and yes, that's accounted for the food taxes.
Sam,
Yeah.
for us non-food vendors that do our own taxes, do you use our numbers for anything other than to know at the end of the year how much we brought in?
Yeah, no, it's simply for data collection purposes.
So I was wondering, like, to reduce paperwork for you guys, if we bypass that and in October, end of October, I could just tell you how much I need at Montrose.
Honestly, like to have the amounts in there, because right now we have a volunteer and she's going through and she's tallying up everything in every area and putting it in a line item and representing our whole annual spending and income. And to have that, because we do report it to the state for our grant. So it is important for not only our information, but just the health of the market. So we do have to report it to the state in some capacity for our grant. So we do need to have that, because I'm the one that goes through and puts it on the spreadsheet, whoever we submit it. So if it's not there, then I have to come and ask you, hey, what was your total? So it is easier for me if it's there, because then when I'm doing the back end work, whether it be every month, well, I think it's been 3 months the last time. I think Christine was like, oh, behind, you should go in there, and then I have to like feverishly get that in there, but they do ask us for that information, quarterly for the grant, or is it just randomly?
Grant,
Okay,
like my grant's a once a year kind of report.
okay,
But I also, I kind of want to keep the system consistent. It's like we have a process of handing out the envelopes and collecting them. And it's like, if we had to remember to reach out to certain people at the end of the year, but not others, that would be hard. Yeah, it can happen. I had a vendor this year who they sent their crew to the market, but the crew there didn't know how much they made. They like came with money, left with money. So they were putting like the same amount every week, and I caught them like, I don't think this is what you're making.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no, we don't know. So I did reach out to that vendor to be like, can you just tell me what you made this year it's grant reporting, and I know you make a lot of sales, so can you?
but it was easy because he was the only one that didn't do it.
Exactly, if I had to chase like half
You're
of
like,
that,
oh,
yeah.
no.
Good question. We're just gonna stick with the process we have so far, but it's, yeah, I always welcome new ideas and,
It's good to know why.
yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump into some updates and news for the market, and then we're gonna open up for questions. Updates for the Farmers Market Promotion Program grant. And for those who are joining us virtually or here and not familiar with that, my role as the project manager, and why you don't see me every week at the market, is I manage a USDA grant that Valley Food Partnership received for the Montrose Farmers Market back in 2021, called the Farmers Market Promotion Program Grant, FMPP. This is a 3-year grant to help build some sustainability with the market. So it's provided us staff capacity. It's funded 10 extra hours of Liz's time and my time. My position is solely funded through this grant, by the way. No Montrose Farmers Market budget touches me. It's provided us funds for building up a marketing plan. So we've had a lot of extra funding for printing flyers, getting radio ads, getting paid Facebook advertisements, getting new signs, getting a new logo, getting new feather flags, tote bag swag. So it's funded for that. I've been working on data collection plans, so that way we can collect data, so we can make informed decisions. This year, what I'm going to be doing in our final year of the grant is I'm going to be developing a business plan for the market. So if any of you were at the budget review meeting in January, you'll know that the market has been in a budget decline, has been in the red for the past couple of years and has been sustained through grants or through Valley Food Partnerships time. And so we finally ended in black this past year, which is fantastic. And so part of our developing our business plan is like, okay, how can we diversify MFM funds or find a way to create it, make the market self-sustaining essentially. So I will be looking at other farmers markets business models. I'll probably be hitting up you two, to talk numbers and kind of reviewing what is the best choice for the market. And I won't be making that choice in a bubble. I will be reviewing this with the advisory committee, and with other Montrose Farmers Market stakeholders, and the library is gonna help me do some research. So that's my big plan for year 3. We've also gotten some questions if we're applying for another FMPP grant, and the answer is yes, but we have recently learned that we are not eligible for the 2024 grant. So basically, our project is supposed to end in September. We're getting a grant extension to December, but even if we did end in September, the project review overlaps with when the new grant would be granted on October 1st. So either way, it's just a timing thing. We can't get an FMPP grant in 2024, so we're kind of bummed about that. But we can get a grant in 2025. So we are planning on applying for that. So if you're interested in that, or you have a really great idea that you think we should be doing as a market and that we get to apply for as a grant, I'm all ears. We've got ideas, but we've also got time to think of a really good project. There are open seats in our advisory committee. So the Montrose Farmers Market has an advisory committee. It is not an official governing body, but it's an advisory style board. So we meet quarterly, so about 3 months, unless I don't get my ducks in a row, and then it's like 3.5 months. But essentially, the advisory committee is mixed up of vendors, and we're trying to get more consumers on board too. And we come and we talk about issues or feedbacks or whatever's concerning the market at present. So we usually will update the rules and regulations if it's needed. I'll ask for feedback. So again, like with this business plan I'm making, I'm going to be asking for feedback from the advisory committee. I asked for feedback with the AC when we were developing a new logo. I don't like making decisions in a vacuum. That's my personality. So I really appreciate having others' ears and perspectives. But we're going to be creating a form for an application for the advisory committee. It's going to be super low key, just name and how interested you are and your availability. But if you're interested in the success of the Montrose Farmers Market and you think you're going to come in with a positive attitude and creative solutions and a unique perspective, I invite you. There's plenty of room. So yeah, that's exciting. And also survey results are going to be coming soon. So if you were with us in 2023, you'll remember we did a community-wide survey. We shared this at the market. We shared it on social media. We had partners share on social media. We shared it in the newspaper. And we also printed out some postcards and mailed them out for the survey too. We really tried to get the community engaged, and we had about 260 something responses, which isn't bad. That's a lot to work with. So we've gotten those results back. I wanted to share them today, but the way they're kind of laid out with Qualtrics is a little complicated. I'm still wrapping my head around the survey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to digest the results and make them into pretty visuals that everyone can see. And then I'm going to share with the vendors first, and then I'm going to share it with the public. So those are coming soon. But lots of good and interesting feedback, and I will say a lot of positive feedback as well. I shared some results with the AC committee the other night, and they can vouch that we got a lot of positive feedback from the community. They love the market. Quick dates upon the calendar, and probably more to come because we like planning things. Farmers Market Boot Camp is a vendor training day on March 29th.
It was like, not April.
Oh, shoot, it's March, not April. I just got confused with the numbers. It's March 29th. It's before summer market starts. And it is going to be an all-day training boot camp for people who want to be vendors, but absolutely don't know where to start. So if you don't know how to obtain or what kind of liability insurance to get, we're going to go over that. If you have never dealt with customer service in your life and you don't know how to talk to people, we're going to have a best customer service practice. We're going to teach you how to utilize social media to promote your business. Jeanette's going to share how to make a website for your business. We're going to have tents of greatness out here on the plaza. So we're going to have a great example of a really good tent with signage and weights and beautiful displays, and then we're gonna have a kind of not so great tent table area that I have volunteered to represent. And it's gonna be like, it's gonna show how those differences can really amplify your business at a farmer's market. So that's free. So if you're interested, it's probably not gonna be free in the future when we do this. This is kind of our trial run year. But we're also providing lunch. So, and you get to hang out with us and we're fun. So,
And there'll be swag bags.
and there'll be swag bags. Yeah, so that is March 29th. That's like the last Friday of March, not April. Opening day is the first Friday of May. We'll have stuff planned for that. Not sure.
The Montrose, high school jazz band and color guard will be there, and they will most likely loudly welcome us into our opening day for the summer season. And I have let them know that after the opening kind of, ceremony talk discussion, then we're just gonna be quiet. They're gonna play some nice jazz music and the color guard will show their skills. So
I'm really excited.
I am too.
I was a marching band kid, so.
I was an orchestra kid, so they're gonna do a good job. They know they have, lots of people excited to see them.
National Farmers Market Week is the first full week of August, so that's gonna be August 10th. And then Stone Soup Lunch, to be determined, probably September or early October, because that's usually when we have vendor appreciation anyway. So, those are the dates we have lined up right now. Other exciting news is Liz and I are attending the Colorado Farmers Market Association Conference, this weekend. So we're gonna be in Palisade, rubbing elbows with other Colorado Farmers Market managers, and they're gonna they're gonna have amazing sessions on how to successfully run a farmer's market and hear how other people run farmers markets, and it's so fun. It's such a fun conference. And that is the meeting. I'm gonna check the chat real quick because I see things coming up. Yeah, I know, it says 4:29. It's 3:29. It's 3:20. Yeah, it's 3. Yeah, it's.
Right.
Yeah, everyone's correct. It is March 29th. I just got numbers mixed up. Okay, now is open time for questions and discussions. Or anything at all. Does anyone have any questions?
You did good.
You did great.
Thanks.
Lots of info.
Done this a couple times. I'm now no longer sweating when I do this, so it's great. And this is recorded, so, we will share with all the vendors too, and I don't know, I think we have a YouTube page, so we could post this on the YouTube page for non-current vendors to see. Any questions? I've got this room booked till 8.
Anybody virtually have questions
Let me check the chat.
or anything anybody wants to share?
Does anyone virtually have any questions?
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Melissa. You have any questions for us?
Okay. I was just wondering, as far as products at the farmer's market, the things I would be bringing in would be like more artsy stuff, hand painted hats, like handmade jewelry, handmade cards, kind of more of a mosaic shop vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that something that you think would be a good addition? I know it's probably going to be more popular during the touristy times, but
I think, yeah, that's a great addition. So yeah, I probably should have covered that too, is, so our requirements for vendors is that your business and your product has to be sourced from the western slope. So yeah, so if you are the maker of your craft and you make it here locally, that is already eligible. Artisans are welcome. We were just talking about ratios at the last advisory committee. And we don't have any strict rules and regulations because we decided we wanted to be flexible. But we do shoot for at least 50% farmer, ag products, at least 50%, if not more, but artisan products are welcome. And I would just advise to get your application in early because we are gonna keep an eye this year to make sure that we don't have like too much of one product, you know, like not too many soap vendors or too many
Right.
whatever vendors.
And I think we also agreed that we're gonna be very cognizant of not going over the 50% mark for artisans.
Yes, so with that, at minimum 50% farmers, we're gonna make sure that our artisan crew doesn't reach over 50%. That's just feedback we've gotten from communities that people wanna see more like produce and ag products, but yes, artisans are absolutely welcome. I'm an artisan myself. I'm trying to get to the farmer's market this year. Yes, and I need to get liability insurance and it's scarce.
We're
So-
actually, Jeanette is going to be, applying, she works with Callie in our Cultivating Farmers and Ranchers that Thrive program. I have a booth at our farmers market, Sammy's gonna be attempting to have one
I'm gonna
this
try.
year, we're gonna get her going. We're gonna get-
Yeah, literally, like, everybody in our office is gonna have a booth at the farmer's market at some point or another, so, this is great, I'm putting myself in the vendor's shoes, I'm sharing my artisan products, and it's only a little scary.
What do you make?
I like to do block prints, so, I'll be making like some cards and block printing like thrifted clothing. I've also recently gotten into making paper, so like I've taken a bunch of recycled paper from the office and turned it into new paper. And I crochet lightly, but that will not be my main product, that will be like whatever I happen. But yeah, block printing is kind of my main thing.
What about Princess dresses, are you gonna be making those?
Oh, hit up Callie for that. I'm a very new and novice sewer, so like, could I, maybe, will I don't know. That would be a good thing for the market, but yeah, any other questions? Yeah,
What's your process for how you place the vendors in certain locations?
excellent question, that comes up like every year. So there's like three main things we consider. First one is how early you get your application in. The sooner you get your application in, actually, where I should probably start with this conversation is our location. So, during the summer, we're on Uncompahgre Avenue, Centennial Plaza, and South First. So as we're getting in applications and planning where we're gonna put people, we kind of start at Uncompahgre Avenue and then work our way around. That way, as we get new vendors later in the season, because we get applications in like July still, we can extend them down South First because there's lots of room and lots of flexibility to extend. So the first thing we consider is how early you get your application in. The sooner you get your application in, the better chance you have of being in these areas unless you request to be on South First. Second thing we consider is returning vendors. So if you've been with the market for years and you have a special spot you like, you can request that. It's not a guarantee because things change every year. Some vendors come, some vendors leave, but you can definitely request it. And usually those two overlap. A lot of times our returning vendors do get their applications in early because they've been doing it for years, so they know they want to do it. And then the third thing we consider is, of course, your product. We don't want to put two baked good vendors next to each other. We don't want to put two soap vendors next to each other, you know, because then that's like a direct competition. We try to spread people out a little bit. So, we might put two meat vendors together, like Brittany from Uncompahgre Farms and George from Happy Hogs specifically request to be next to each other. They're very good friends, so that's fine. We can accommodate that, of course. But yeah, those are like the three main things we consider, and then we might consider other practical things. If you need electricity, you need to be on the plaza. There's just no way we can get electricity to the other areas. If you have a big trailer, you're probably gonna end up on South First because that's easiest for a trailer to set up. So yeah, there's not a hard science to it, but we consider what's most practical for the market.
On that note, on Uncompahgre, are you allowing vendors to park where the booths are and where these trailers?
Yes, yes, so as we currently do it, your spot is where you can pull into your car and then you can set your tent behind your car. We really like to put consistent vendors in Uncompahgre Avenue, like vendors who we know are gonna be there every weekend, because it really makes it easy for that area to set up. We know they can just pull in, they know exactly where their spot is and they can set up. It's so nice. If we have to move people and shift people around a lot, that makes it complicated to where to park your car, because we don't chalk the numbers in every week. We do it at the beginning of the season, so you know where your spot is. But yes, sorry, short answer is yes, you can park and just set up your booth behind your vehicle.
And, really quickly, sorry, returning vendors. I don't care if you've been here for 5 years or 35 years, please get your applications into me early.
I would do that, except that, my license would have. My license will expire before the market starts, my insurance.
Oh, and that's fine. We've got, like, as soon as it, becomes available to you, just send us that renewal over. And they'll usually get it to you 30 to 60 days before it expires. So we keep an eye on that. It's in my master spreadsheet. I note when everyone's, insurance expires so that I can, get with you. And if it's within 60 days, I highlight it in yellow so that I know to follow up with you guys before the market starts. So no worries then, and if you have documents that are required for the application, still get your application in and then just let me know via email, hey, here's this document, hey, here's this document. It is very helpful if you have them all at one time, but I'd rather have your application in as early as possible and just be waiting on the other documents.
Did you bring in the application?
We do, they're on the back table over there.
And I can email you guys an application if you need one.
And Melissa asked, where can I find a breakdown of the farmer's market booth fees? It's on the application, and you can find the application at valleyfoodpartnership.org. We have the English application available online. We just got the Spanish translated application this week, so that will be on our website pretty soon. As well as the Spanish rules and regulations should still be on there because we haven't changed anything from last year, I believe. Nice. But yeah, like Liz said, application in early, we love that. That allows us to plan ahead of time. Any other questions?
How much of the budget goes to advertising?
So that's an interesting question. Like, right now, not a ton, because we have the grant. So like, I've got some crazy number, like $600 this year to work with like just printing like flyers and stuff, but that's because of the grant. So what I need to do is I need to figure out how much of our budget we do need to allocate each year to sustain a healthy advertising, for the market. I think in the past, we budgeted like 200, which isn't a ton.
But we also get things in-kind donations with our partners like KB and Up Radio and the library and the hospital. They do some marketing for us in return for us allowing them to be at the market. So there's a lot of things that we don't necessarily budget for, but we do have money and we do have relationships with other companies and organizations that help us with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a weird answer right now. Like, we have a lot of money for marketing right now, but that's because of the grant. What we'll have after the grant is what I'm figuring out.
Okay.
So again, I'm gonna pick your guys' brain for that.
Good question though.
Anything else? I'm jazzed up. I'm ready to answer questions. And also, there's so much good food back there. Please take some home. I was worried I wasn't gonna have enough, and turned out that's not an
I'm
issue.
getting full. I can't eat much more. I just need to eat.
This isn't a question per se, but, my community, which is off of LaSalle, is having like a craft show pop-up event on April 20th, and they need vendors. So if anybody is interested,
Absolutely.
I don't know, they can email Liz, and Liz can give my email.
Well, that's great. That's a non-market day too for the winter market. So if you have any graphics or something, like, you can send that to us and we'll forward it to.
They're working on their flyers, so
Cool.
I'd be happy to send it over when.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to.
It's a good practice day before the summer starts.
It sure is.
Yeah.
It is.
It sure is.
Anytime you guys want to share stuff with other vendors, feel free, shoot me an email if you need my email. Most of you have it, but, shoot me a text message, shoot me an email, and we'll share it with the other vendors just to, let everybody know what opportunities are available.
Absolutely. We want you
Yeah,
guys to be successful.
Exactly, we want you guys out there and get your names in front of people and your products.
Good job on communication with the weather, figuring all of that out.
That's lit. That's all lit.
Thank you. Yeah, no, Honestly, it helps me out a ton because in the morning, I get up early and I wanna make sure that you guys have time to be prepared, because I don't like last minute changes any more than anyone else. So as early as I can get you the information, I will, so I'm glad you guys are enjoying that.
Good job.
Anybody have suggestions? I know we're taking questions, but if you guys have suggestions, we'll also take those as well.
Winter market every Saturday.
Oh.
I have so many answers.
I had kind of a weird scenario or thought. I'm trying to get my friend's daughter's very crafty and creative, and she I think is a senior at the high school. And I was thinking about having her kind of join me in my booth like once a month or something, so she wouldn't have to feel super committed, but she could still kind of dip her toes in there. But I wasn't sure about if that would be something that would be allowed, or how I would differentiate her.
There's flexibility. So here's what I'll say for a scenario of you have a friend, whether it's a kid or just like your neighbor or something, wants to include product. The first thing is just reach out to us and ask. Again, we just want to keep an eye on the variety of products we have at the market. But for your friend's kid who wants to sell stuff, as long as she is the maker and you're the one managing the booth and managing the collection sheet, you can reach out to us for approval. We're gonna be curious about the product. I mean, like some products do require some sort of certificates, not as much artisan, but CBD. She's probably not selling CBD.
No.
But yeah, just reach out to us and ask us, and that's some flexibility we have. And yeah, we can approve you selling someone else's product under certain circumstances, and that's just, we kind of take that by a case basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just so everyone hears this, it's like if a kid ever wants to sell at a farmer's market, we still apply the same rules that we do for adult vendors, so they would need liability insurance and whatever certificates they need to sell food. I hate to say that because I have had cute little kids who want to sell their lemonade or their pipe cleaner art, and I haven't even begun to tackle, some farmers markets have really great systems for allowing young entrepreneurs into the market. I just have not even wrapped my brain around that yet. So if someone's very passionate and has good ideas, I welcome it. I haven't dived into it.
And we always will take nonprofits like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and we'll take the schools and
Yeah.
clubs and, lots of nonprofit action. And we do allow some flexibility with the cost of a nonprofit booth, in lieu of doing a kids activity that we can market to the community as, being at the market, to bring people in. So if you guys ever have questions on that, if you know, an organization that wants to have a market or a table market, let me know and we can work with them.
What's that? Yes. Well, I don't want to hold you guys hostage here either. So
Yeah.
we did wrap up all the information we need. Like I said, if you have questions about the budget review, feel free to reach out to us. We already did a presentation on it. That usually would have taken up half this time anyway. Results from the survey will be out soon. Yeah.
I got a question for you. Pollinator week.
Pollinator week, Glenn. Yes, I know. Sorry, Glenn has brought up pollinator week like 2 years in a row, and they keep sneaking up at me. Yes, let's talk. You had a bee presentation last year, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
When's pollinator?
That was my question, you know,
When
When is it?
When is it?
all I need is a space. Do I like to have one, in the shade?
Yeah,
Cause that was the big thing.
absolutely. Yes, we
We'll
can
make it happen. What week is that?
ballpark, month. I'll just write pollinator week.
Well, you figure it out and let me know at the next market, okay?
Oh,
We'll make it happen.
Oh, sorry, the craft weekend on April 20th. Can I get your email for
for her.
Yeah, it's divinelovebath@gmail.
That's easy. Except I can't spell it.
Divine Love Bath at.
Still not right.
And I'm sure it's DIV, not DEV.
Yeah.
DIVINE.
Yeah.
Perfect. There we go.
And Outlook still wants to send it to support. I have to change it every time, even though I like they did the old contact and put your new one. It's like it still wants to send it to support for whatever reason.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop our phone.